All right, welcome. Today we're going to put on our hard hats. Why? Because we're not just talking about sales, we are building a sales machine. And like any great structure, it all starts with a solid blueprint. So let's get to it.
Have you ever wondered about this? You look over at a competitor or maybe some industry leader, and it just seems like sales? Well, they just fall right into their lap. Is it some kind of magic? Do they just have this team of absolute superstars? The answer, it turns out, is usually way more methodical and, honestly, a lot more interesting.
And that right there is the secret we're unpacking today. Look, having a talented salesperson is a huge, huge asset, no doubt. But a company that sells consistently, predictably, they do it because they've designed a system for success. It's really all about the architecture, not just the individual construction workers.
Okay, so every great build starts with a blueprint, right? For our sales machine, that blueprint, that foundation, is what we call the sales organization. It's the master plan that shows how every single piece is going to fit together. So what is it really? Think of it like this. It's the org chart. It's the command structure. It's the map that shows exactly how every person on the sales team connects to everyone else. It's all about clarifying roles and getting rid of any confusion, making sure everyone knows their part in the bigger machine.
Yeah, I really love this quote because it's a great reminder that this machine we're building, it's not just gears and levers and cold steel. It's made of people. A truly great blueprint takes those human relationships into account and creates a structure where everyone can actually cooperate and win together.
Okay, so we've got our blueprint in hand. Now it's time to lay the foundation. Building a really strong sales organization doesn't happen by accident. Nope, it follows 5 clear foundational steps. Let's break them down.
And here they are. First, you define your objectives. What are you actually trying to achieve? Then, you figure out all the activities needed to get there. Next, you group those activities into actual jobs or positions. Step 4, you assign people to those jobs. And finally, number 5, you create a system to coordinate and control the whole operation. See how that works? Objectives at the start and control at the end, they're like the bookends. You start with the goal, and you end by making sure you're always on track to hit it. Pretty smart.
All right, the core structure is in place. Now what? Well, now we need a plan of action. This is the master plan, the strategy that's going to guide every single decision and every activity within this new framework we've just built.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? A goal without a plan is just a wish. Having a sales team and a structure is awesome, but without a real strategic sales plan, you're basically just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. A plan is what turns that hope into a predictable process.
And this is what that process actually looks like. The key thing to see here is that it's not a one-and-done kind of thing. It's a continuous cycle. You start by analyzing your market, where you stand. From there, you set clear, smart goals. Then you develop a detailed plan, the strategies, the tactics. After that, you execute the plan. You put it into action. And here's the crucial part. You evaluate the results. That evaluation then feeds right back into a new analysis, and the cycle starts all over again. It's all about constantly learning, tweaking, and adjusting.
Okay, so our machine, it's got a structure, and it has a strategy. The next logical step? We have to deploy our team in the smartest way possible, and we do that by mapping the world, or, at least our market, into sales territories.
So why even bother with territories? Well, the benefits are just huge. When you map things out properly, you're ensuring everyone has a fair shot. You stop your reps from tripping over each other going after the same customers. You can balance workloads to prevent burnout. It also creates crystal clear accountability, and hey, it even cuts down on costs like travel. Really, it's all about working smarter, not just harder.
And at its core, that's really all a sales territory is. It's just about taking this massive, kind of overwhelming market and breaking it down into manageable, bite-sized pieces that one salesperson can actually own and effectively manage.
So we've got the structure, the plan, and the territories all mapped out. The final component for our machine is the power source, the targets that actually drive performance. Yep, we're talking about sales quotas.
Now, setting these quotas really comes down to 2 main approaches. First, you've got the top-down model. This is where leadership sets a big company target and it just trickles down. The big risk here? It can feel totally disconnected from the reality on the ground and demotivate the team. Then you have the bottom-up approach. This is built from the ground up, based on what the team and their managers think they can realistically achieve. This usually creates way more buy-in and a goal that people actually believe they can hit.
And it's important to know that not all quotas are the same, right? They can be volume-based, how many units you sell or total revenue. That's great for simple, short sales cycles. They can also be activity-based, so think calls, demos, appointments. That works really well for longer, more complex sales processes. You can even base quotas on profit, which is a great way to encourage people to sell higher margin products. Or you can base them on cost control. The big takeaway here is that the right quota depends entirely on the behavior you want to drive in your team.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint for a sales machine. But you have to remember, this isn't something you just build and then walk away from like it's a monument. The market changes constantly, your team changes, your products change. The most successful companies out there, they're the ones who are constantly reviewing their blueprint, tuning their machine, and optimizing for performance. It's a living system.
And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. In this age of data, systems, and processes, if success is really all about the blueprint and the system, does that mean the era of the lone wolf is over? That maverick salesperson who breaks all the rules but somehow always gets results? Is that person now just a myth? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.